Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of How to Build a Game Studio. I am Trevor Oz, and I'm joined today by the that one guy that works at this studio. I think his name is Kent.
Oh, I gotta go first. Hi, everybody.
What's up, Kent? And we're also joined by the artist extraordinaire, Moudy.
Hi, I'm the other guy.
The other guy, and then we have the other guy, Jack Steele.
What's up, guys?
What's up, other guy?
The other guy.
Got a lot of guys on this podcast.
Yeah, we do have a lot of guys. We have almost the whole studio on the podcast here today. We're talking a little bit about, as people would know by now, we've launched a Kickstarter for our game Externus, Path of the Solari.
But Trevor, we haven't launched the Kickstarter yet.
Dang it, Kent, you just ruined it all. So technically we're recording this before we launch the Kickstarter. So we don't know whether it's doing well or not. We hope it is. If it's not, please help us.
Please, God.
Please.
Oh God, please. God.
We could definitely use the help. So we have gone through a lot in preparation of getting the Kickstarter up, working on our pre-alpha demo, which, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, a lot of long days, a lot of long nights. So Kent, how do you feel now having something that is about to go out there?
It is equal parts exciting and equal parts unbelievably terrifying. It's pretty cool. So I'm very, very proud of where we're at for pre-alpha. As you guys know, pre-alpha is far, far earlier than generally the public would see a game. Normally, at the very earliest, you're starting to see kind of alpha gameplay, and definitely closer to beta by the time that fans will actually be able to get their hands on it. You're normally seeing kind of alpha videos or kind of curated gameplay segments, but we chose to kind of put it in the hands of our players a lot earlier. And on one hand, it's exciting. The reason we did this is collaborative kind of design is very important to us, because we want to keep this game in the spirit of the original tabletop game, and the characters, the story, the world. This was all created not just by myself, but by everyone who played this game. All the players contributed, their own characters. Their actions directly influenced how the story kind of evolved from, what I had originally intended to what actually happened. And I mean, sometimes it was totally, I'd throw out entire, kind of planned sequences of things based on some crazy unexpected thing you guys did. So we wanted to make sure we kind of kept this alive going forward. And while we can't actively have all of our fans and players kind of directly contributing to the game, what we wanted to do is get the demo out there so that people could play it and kind of start building a community around it. Tell us what you do like, tell us what you don't like, provide ideas maybe that you'd be interested in seeing. Even as things as simple as bug reports are very helpful, but more so than just bug reports, we really wanted to kind of get the feedback of our players as we go through this whole process, and that's very important to us. So we made the decision to bring out the demo this early, and of course the terrifying thing about that is most people are not used to seeing a game this early, so there are definitely some rough edges, and we're hoping that people are able to see past that and kind of understand, because for a pre-alpha, I'm very proud, and I think it looks good, and it plays good, it feels pretty good. for what people are used to seeing kind of beta or later, it might not be quite as flashy or showy as people are expecting. And of course, that all comes in time, but yeah, we made our decision and we'll kind of see if it pays off in the end.
So with that, so Jack, how do you feel about everything coming out?
Yeah, I can say I feel pretty similar, where I'm going through like this roller coaster of, everything looks amazing. I can't wait to show everyone. I want everyone to see it. And then sometimes I'm like, oh my God, we didn't do a good enough job. I don't want anyone to see it. So, but overall, I'm also really proud of what we've accomplished so far. And yeah, I'm also just really hoping people understand that it is pretty early in development. So could be a little bit different from a lot of the games that they've seen in Kickstarter, but I think a lot of RPG fans are going to understand and see everything that we bring to the table.
And how about you, Moudy?
Yeah, I can't really say I have one definitive feeling. More like a cluster of emotions just constantly stirring, And I think it really, you start to really think about those quotes you hear, things like, you got butterflies in your belly, or like you said, you're like, one day you're like, yeah, and then it's like this. But I just think it's because, I guess we're actually finally ready to show, what we've been working on, and it's a pretty incredible ride in that sense. Like, yeah, it's just I don't know how to feel exactly, but I like what everyone has said here. I really think the team has like done so much and been putting so much like blood, sweat, and tears into this, and in that sense, I'm like super like proud of us and excited, and hopefully like I'm ready to share that with the community out there. And to what Kent said, it's an early phase, but like sort of again what Kent said, this whole game has been built by like a community base, some sort of like it's never been like one person's idea. So I'm ready to kind of start that and be part of like making that bigger community be a part of it. So I guess I'm trying to say is I'm excited, dude. But then I'm nervous again. See, it just happened.
Quick as that.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely one of those things where like it's almost kind of like I know Moudy talks about like art and being an artist and stuff like that a bunch on this podcast, and he has, but I think like in a sense like we're all like creating this. It's a game, but it's also like a piece of art for us that we're showing to the world, and we want people to like it, obviously, and I think like for the team, like collectively as artists, in that sense, we're very nervous, and but I think artists tend to not always like their own stuff all the time. But I think we have something cool. I would agree with you, and it's very, the emotions are very mixed. I have those mixed emotions too, but I'm super excited to get it out there for people to play it and to get some actual feedback from a ton of people that aren't close to the project. That way we can kind of see and make sure that we're heading in the right direction, because I think we are. I know for us as a studio, a lot of us are fans of the tactical RPG genre, and a lot of us play a lot of those games. So I think it fits right at home with those types of games. So I think we're on the right track. I think we have some uniqueness to what we're doing with the story and with everything going on. And I think the cool thing I think about our pre-alpha demo is the fact that it's actually not going to be a part of the final game. It's a prequel, in fact, to the entire experience. And it's more it gives you a little bit of an introduction to the world and the characters and what we hope to accomplish with the game, but also gives you something special that you won't get if you just play the final game when it's released.
Yeah, I got the idea for that from, I want to say it was Dead Rising 2. did like a little kind of prequel. I think it was like $5 you could buy it for or something. Case Zero.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I always thought that was a really cool way. I mean, it was kind of, in engine. It wasn't really part of the main game, the game proper, but it got you into the world. It let you experience it, play it, kind of get a feel for it. But it was still something special, and I just wanted to kind of, provide that for anyone who kind of basically jumps on board this early as a, thank you so much. It's kind of cool to have this experience, and kind of the story that happens in this demo kind of leads you right up to where the actual game is going to start. So you get this little bit of almost insider knowledge for kind of jumping on with us this early.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a really cool idea, and I didn't even. I obviously I knew about Case Zero, because I'm pretty sure I bought it back when that was a thing many years ago. That was probably a decade ago now, plus.
Probably.
But yeah, I didn't know that was the inspiration for it at all. So that's actually a really cool note there. So Moody's been working hard on the art style and everything. Moudy, so the reason we picked the art style that we picked is because we were looking at Moody's Instagram before when we were trying to figure out, hey, what do we want our game to look like? And he had a character on there that kind of had that style that we're showing throughout Externus. So Moudy, do you know like kind of where you started doing that kind of the kind of art style that we're doing for the game?
Man, I've been trying to figure out what I do when I draw for the longest time, dude. But I'll be real. It's kind of funny because I've never really been much of like I don't know how to explain, but like art has been something I've always done, and so I sort of really do kind of. I'm gonna sound so artsy fartsy, I swear. Like I just kind of like to do it, and I've never really thought too much about like if I had to like define like what it was, but I mean I could certainly say that my influences come from a whole wide range, and it really runs the gamut from even like obviously like game art, like concept art from games, to even like comic books of even things like DC, Marvel, or even things like from like manga. And I feel like it's some sort of maybe I guess the hand of an artist is, I feel like that's always something that just you can't to some extent change, and somehow I guess I'm able to filter through that, and that's kind of what I've been doing. But I've always just loved action oriented I guess art. So it's funny because every time I look at my stuff, and I haven't watched too much of it, but I really like the idea of like I'm not sure, like I don't want to like necessarily label it, but I kind of think of like, have you ever seen stuff like G.I. Joes back in the day and stuff? Yeah, just things like I want to say it's almost like it has that like 80s or 90s Sunday morning cartoon action hero vibe a little bit, but then this actually, if it's okay with you, I'd like to turn it to you, Trevor, because I'm kind of curious how you see it, because at this point, like I said, I kind of just do it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see it almost as this, like it's not, because it's not like anime, because we didn't want to necessarily go with like an anime art style, because you see that a lot in RPGs, and we kind of wanted to at least set our style apart. But I think, but it's more just like it's you can tell that it's like fantasy, but it also kind of almost feels a little bit realistic too, in that sense. So it almost kind of marries the two together in a sense, and it definitely has a cartoon vibe without feeling like it's cartoony, if that makes sense.
We're gonna
call it the kitchen sink style, because it's got a little bit of everything, including the kitchen sink in there.
Just me throwing some spices. What's that guy who used to go like, "Bow, bow, every like, you know what I'm talking about? It's like bam.
Bam, I think that was Emerald.
Emerald.
Yeah, there you go. Bam.
Actually, I believe it was Elzar. Come on, that was awesome. No Futurama fans here? You guys suck.
I must have missed the episode, I swear.
He's on
It's
like
been a
40.
long time, man.
All right,
It's been
you
a long
guys.
time since I've seen Futurama.
Your guys' homework is to go and watch Futurama.
All right, guys. Well, that's the end of this podcast. We got to go
All right.
watch Futurama. So, um, Jack, how's it feel to see? Because it's for me and you, it's both our first game. So what's it like for you to see it like up on the Steam store, like out there, like on these platforms that and to be like, hey, I made that, or at least you had a part in making that.
Good
Yeah,
talk.
one of the big things for me. Sorry, Mike was muted. Didn't realize.
He's
that.
like, no comment.
I am empty. But yeah, one of the big things for me was actually seeing it on the Steam page. That was a little bit of a shock to me because yeah, like you had mentioned, this is like our first game, and that's just like seeing it up there on the Steam store made me like actually feel like a game developer after over a year of actually working on this game. That's what actually like started to make it feel real.
Yeah, it definitely gives it that feeling. It's like super weird. It's like, man, the thing that I see on that screen, like I can search for our game on the Steam store. Like
Right.
I can type in Externus and it's there. And like and it was weird for me, like on the back end, like actually putting all that information into Steam and being like, wait, this is gonna go on the Steam store? It's kind of one of those like little things that like I don't think a lot of people really think about for game development. Like it's a weird appreciation of what you're doing, and like just this, in a weird sense, a reverence that I think that we have for like video games and stuff in general, and because I mean it's a thing that we all love to do, or at least we love to play video games, and now to be able to like make them and actually see them, like see something that's at least kind of tangible, even though it's just in a digital form,
Right.
It's definitely a cool little thing.
Dude, it doesn't even like, it's not limited to just with the first title, because I don't know how many games I've worked on Steam. A lot, probably like 10, between all the Call of Duties and like Go Home Dinosaurs and everything I did at Imagine Engine and all that other stuff. But like, this is the first one that is just solely ours,
Mhm.
So like, even though I've done this 1,000 times before, and even though I've seen it, like, and of course this game is not going to get anywhere near the attention of like some of the previous Call of Duty stuff I've worked on. Like,
Right.
there's something very special about, the origins of this from our playing, the tabletop version in my parents' basement.
Yeah.
And the journey it's made from those chicken marks in my paper bag maps, like all the way to this point is very special.
Right, yeah, that's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's weird just thinking about like being in my early 20s, just sitting in your basement and like with a character sheet and these dice and rolling on, the maps made on Kroger's bags.
Yeah.
And just going from that to actually like see something in a game and actually have it out there so other people see it and can actually play it. That's, I mean, it's like crazy, but it's amazing at the same time. But yeah, we got our Kickstarter up. The game. Well, let's talk about this. Kent, one of the big things in this game are having choices that matter. Why? Tell us a little bit about that, or at least not us, obviously, but tell the audience a little bit about having choices that matter and why you decided to bring that into the game in the way that you have.
So there's a couple reasons behind it. The first being that, you know, it's important to kind of pay homage to the source material for this game. So, you know, playing the tabletop version, you guys had total control over what you did. You know, there's complete choice. You could do anything from kind of standard swing your broadsword to attack to, you know, craziness like smearing blood on animals and sending them in different directions to try to confuse a demon. Jack.
That could have worked. That could have worked.
So, I mean,
what's wrong with you?
yeah, that's a whole thing. You think the turkey mancers were weird, man? You should have seen the campaign before that.
Oh my.
But yeah, I mean, like, and obviously that's not something that you can do in a video game, right? Like, no matter how, until we get true AI, there's just no way that can ever really be accomplished. So that was one of the kind of, I was like, that was kind of the start of it, where I'm like, I want to give some choice to the player, because that's important. It's part of what made the original game fun. And then kind of the second part is that, you know, you guys know me. I absolutely love tactical RPG, strategy RPGs, anything that I really have to like take my turn, figure out exactly what to do, have some awesome combat, kind of work on my character outside of the combat for the next encounter. And I also really, really love hard games. So I always play these games on the hardest difficulty. I always play them with the Iron Man mode on, you know, so if I die, that's it, it's over. But the thing I've always noticed playing these games is they encourage you with Iron Man mode to basically play through from start to finish. So when you lose a guy, you don't immediately reload and then try again. But I found myself still doing that. It's just I would restart the whole game instead of, you know, reloading, because you can't really do that. And so that really always bothered me, because it doesn't have the impact that I'm really looking for. And so one of the things I wanted to do is kind of explore alternatives for that, right? Like, permadeath is not at all new. Like, it's used everywhere, especially in the indie community. But very rarely, if ever, is there any kind of positive spin on that. And I know it's weird to say there are positives to having one of your characters die, but that's kind of one of the design decisions I made early that I really wanted to explore, and the fact that, you know, like, when your character dies, we are not forcing you. We don't have an Iron Man mode. We are not forcing you to not be able to reload immediately. What we want to do is entice you as a player to actually explore what effect that death had on the world, on the story, on the other characters. So we made sure that every time, if a character dies, there are an equal number of positive and negative effects that happen. Because I don't want you to immediately reload. If it's one of your favorite characters, sure, go ahead. It's entirely up to the player. We're giving you that choice to either go back and retry the battle or move forward and see kind of what effect this actually had. And so, you know, hopefully this works out. It's kind of hard to say. It's not something I've really seen in many games before, but I feel like it's something cool. It's something worth exploring. And I just wanted to make sure that we really give the player the choice instead of kind of artificially imposing this choice on the player.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because, I mean, like you said, you go to other games and you know, a character dies that you don't want to die, and you're just like, oh, well, if you're like me, you're going to save scum, which is what they call it, where you're going to reload the save, because I very rarely play on Iron Man, because I'm not the best tactical RPG player, even though I like playing them a lot. So that would be me reloading. But yeah, it definitely is cool to see some sort of incentive for actually seeing it through and how it's actually going to change the story. Like, and the fact that we do have one of those factors in the demo, in the pre-alpha demo. So
we do, yeah. I highly suggest playing through and more than once, or at least playing with a friend and kind of talking to them about it. But there's it's not mind-blowingly different because this is just kind of a short standalone made demo and we can't really show far-reaching effects, but there's definitely some ripples based on whether a certain character lives or dies. There's some different scenes. There's actually a different kind of situation for one of the final battles based on whether that character is there. And if that character dies, there is actually a fairly sizable kind of advantage you get in the final battle. So yeah, I wanted to make sure people kind of saw where we were going with this in a small scope, so they can appreciate what it's going to actually be in the overall game.
yeah, absolutely. And I can't wait till we get to that point where we do have, I know some of, being on this side of the fence, I know some of what's going to happen in the game, but like I can't wait to like actually get that stuff out there to where people are like, oh my god, this happened, so this changed. Like, I know there's going to be a ton of those like revelatory moments, so to speak. But yeah, I'm excited for that stuff. I mean, I'm still excited for the future. But I'm glad that that's something that we get to show in the pre-alpha demo. Like you said, even though it's on a small scale, we do get to show that off and show what we're doing. But yeah, I think that might be almost it's definitely one of the most unique things about our game compared to others.
Yeah, I agree. The two major things that I can think of that, we have a lot of small unique differences. We have, I have a pretty unique art style. I feel like our story is obviously original and unique, but as far as actual kind of gameplay and mechanics, that's one of them. And then we actually are not ready to talk about the other one. That will be revealed at a later date. So look forward to that, because it may or may not even be a good idea, but
it could totally break the game. So we'll see.
I figured that we have the chance now. We have no publisher. We have, it's our game. So I wanted to kind of explore some of these ideas, alongside making the game that we definitely want to make and we want to give to players. Make some of these kind of unusual choices and explore it a little bit. And if it backfires, then we don't do that again, or we give the player the option to opt out of it.
Absolutely, yeah. We definitely want the players to have options and feel like they're a part of the world. I think that's a big thing about Externus and the world that we're creating is feeling a part of it. Because I know that when we played it on a tabletop, we all felt that we were a part of that world. So I think that's just another way that we can bring the tabletop to everybody else, But with that, I think that'll pretty much wrap up this episode of the podcast. It just gives people a little bit of some insight into the Kickstarter. We should have some regular podcast updates during the Kickstarter and stuff like that. So we'll definitely be talking more. Probably go into some of the minutia of stuff and basically you'll learn everything that there is to know about our game, at least that we're ready to talk about in the weeks to come. So with that, anything else that you would want to mention before we leave, Jack?
No, that pretty much covers it.
All right. How about you, Moudy?
Hey, all right. Am I on?
Yes.
You're on.
All right.
We're really bad with mute buttons.
Yeah. I just want to say, at this point, just thank you to everybody who is interested and definitely wants to like be part of this. We work really hard, and like I said, I'm really super excited and a ton of other feelings, but I can't wait for everyone to try this. So, thank you guys.
All right, and Kent, anything else before we leave off into the sunset?
Yeah, we should mention if you are interested in the game and want to either A, back it right away, or B, check out the demo. It's worth mentioning that we actually have a tier where you can basically pre-purchase the game. You get some goodies, you get the game upon release, but I wanted to just specifically mention that for the first week, we have an early bird option where you save an additional, I think, $2 off of the already lowered price. Our planned price for the game when it's actually, finished and out, I think is 25. Our kind of basic, you get the game in addition to these other goodies tiers is 20. And then this early bird special takes it down even further to 18, and that runs for the first week. So if you are planning on getting the game and want to support it and make sure you have the game at launch, this is actually going to be, at least for a while, kind of the cheapest option. So figured that's worth mentioning since it's a time-sensitive matter.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you mentioned that. So, yeah, for the first week, it's $18 for the early bird price. As Kent said, it's going to be $24.99 when we launch. Like when we launch it, when it's all said and done. And then we're doing the rest of the Kickstarter, other than the first week, it's going to be $20. But for this first week, we do have it for $18. So you can save a few bucks if you want to help support us in our tactical RPG dreams. We absolutely appreciate anybody that supported us so far. Anybody that's shown any interest whatsoever. Like, thank you so much. We love that you at least care enough to check that out, or even check out this podcast, or even even if you can't support it, if you don't have the money or anything like that, even if you just give it a like or a share or something like that, that helps us out too. So we absolutely appreciate anything that you guys do that helps us out, and just for showing an interest, because it's good to know that there are other people out there that think what we're doing is cool, because we like it, and we are making the game that we would want to play. So we're hoping that it's also a game that you'd want to play too.
Well said.
Yeah, let's make this game, guys.
Yeah, together. We need your help, and I guess you need our help. We all need help.
I certainly need help.
Yeah, give us some help.
We all desperately need some help right now.
Moudy especially. But again, thank you guys. The Kickstarter will be up for the next month, so definitely go check that out. And we'll be back probably in about a week on the podcast. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.